Gemara famously says that it's the Avos who established the Tfilos Hayom and Avram Tiken Tfilos Shachris. And the pasuk is from Parshas Vayera, Vayashkem Avraham Baboker El Makom Asher Amad Sham Es Pnei Hashem. So it's interesting to just consider the context in which Avram is said to have established Tfilas Shachris, the very first establishment of Tefillah ever. What can we learn from the context of Parshas Vayera and Avram's Tefillah for stone about the experience of Tefillah in general? So I thought to just make a few quick points, none of which are necessarily a big chiddush in their own right, but nonetheless, I think are worth considering. One of the very interesting phrases in Avram's Tefillah to Hashem about stone is Anochi Ofar Ve'efer. And much is said about this phrase, Anochi Ofar Ve'efer, and certainly on one level it simply expresses Avram's humility. And that's, of course, a very basic perspective when it comes to Tefillah. A person is meant to daven Ka'ani HaMevakesh BePesach. We don't expect to be able to demand anything. We come with the recognition that Anochi Ofar Ve'efer, that's HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in charge, and we are just lucky to be able to approach him to begin with. And especially after Avram's initial assertive opening to his tefillah, he sort of recoils and says, I know where I'm coming from, I know what my real status is, Anochi Ofar Ve'efer, and that's certainly a critical perspective for tefillah in general. Rashi gives added significance to the phrase, Anochi Ofar Ve'efer. And he says that Avram was alluding to the fact that he should have been Ofar. He should have been buried already in the ground. During the war with the kings, he should have been dead. And he should have been Efer with the story with Nimrod when he's thrown into the fiery furnace. So what's the point of Avram mentioning that? Why is he saying, I should have already been dead, you're the one who has saved me in the past? So therefore what? Therefore his tefillah now should be any more effective? Maybe Avram's already used up all his credit on his past experiences. So perhaps the idea is as follows. Another important aspect of our approach to tefillah. We know that we come to Hashem because I ask for something. Is that a reason why it will necessarily be granted? A reason why it will happen? What right do I have? What zchus do I have? So some of the Baalei Machshava write that a person's approach in tefillah should be, I approach you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because you are the ultimate Baal HaRachamim. Because your Rachamim is unlimited, because it's infinite, therefore I'm approaching you about this case as well. And maybe that's what Avram is saying here. Avram is saying, I've already been the beneficiary of your chesed on so many occasions. I'm already alive because of your multiple chasadim that went beyond the derech hatava. Therefore, as the ultimate Baal HaRachamim, I'm approaching you with this issue as well. Another point, the Medrash famously states that because Avram said, Anochi Ofar Ve'efer, his descendants were awarded with mitzvos. One version has them getting the mitzvah of paraduma and the mitzvah of afara sota, the whole sota process. Another version of the Medrash just says paraduma, which grants kapara, which grants tahara, because of this phrase of Anochi Ofar Ve'efer. What does one thing have to do with another? Because Avram is davening with the right perspective, he realizes that he has to be humble. Therefore, his descendants get a mitzvah which gives them tahara ledoros. So maybe just another layer is that Avram's saying Anochi Ofar Ve'efer, and as Rashi says, is recalling the chesed of the past. Avram is indicating his absolute and complete dependence on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm absolutely dependent on you. Everything. You created me. You saved me multiple times. Everything I have is only from you. So if a person comes with that perspective, Avram comes with that perspective of absolute dependence, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kaviyachol has to therefore take care of his dependent. And he offers him the mitzvah of paraduma, which brings tahara l'doros. And finally, just wanted to mention, it's very noteworthy that the pasuk Vayashkem Avram Baboker, of course, is not a pasuk that's stated during Avram's tefillah for stone. It's a pasuk which is the next morning. Avram goes the next morning to where he had davened previously. And what happens the next morning? Avram goes and sees that stone was in fact destroyed. So certainly Avram could have had the perspective, well, I had this whole tefillah and it was a waste of time. Nothing came of it. I davened that if there are tzaddikim in Sdom should be spared. It's true that Hashem agreed to spare Sdom if there were tzaddikim, but that didn't help Sdom. Sdom was destroyed anyway. So what was the point? So I think this medrash really emphasizes the value of tefillah and effectiveness of tefillah, even in ways that we don't necessarily always notice. And that's built in to the very first establishment of tefillah. Avram Tikein Tefillah Shachris, it's this tefillah which comes at a point where Avram recognizes that his tefillah for stone didn't have the effect that maybe he thought would be the desired effect. And nonetheless, the Medrash says that because of his tefillah, such a powerful result, L'Doros, of the mitzvah of Paradum, which brings Tahara to the Jewish people. So that's something to consider as well. The fact that built into the experience of tefillah is the effectiveness, the power of tefillah. Although in ways that we do not always get to and often don't see in the short term.